In this pod-slice summary of the Diary of the CEO podcast, Stephen Bartlett delves into a conversation with Dr. Tim Spector, an award-winning scientist, best-selling author, and co-founder of Zoe, a home kit company for personalized nutrition. Their discussion navigates the complex world of dieting, common food misconceptions, and the scientific basis of nutrition. Dr. Spector scrutinized several common food perceptions. Firstly, he pointed out that the hype around protein supplements, indicating that most people already consume almost double the amount they require. Excessive protein, he detailed, is converted to sugars and fat, negating the perceived benefits. Dr. Spector also dismissed the idea that coffee is unhealthy, maintaining that it can be beneficial for health, potentially leading to longer lifespans. On the same note, he noted that there's no concrete evidence supporting the need for drinking 8 glasses of water a day. Instead, he suggested that 10 minutes in the sun could provide the required dose of vitamin D. Furthermore, he shed light on the pitfalls of weight loss through exercise alone. When one has excessive fat, radical measures need to be taken. This counteracts the common belief that exercise alone is sufficient for losing weight. Significantly, they discuss the importance of considering the health of the gut microbiome. Poor diet choices are linked with mental health issues, cancer, and other health complications. Ignoring nutritional health is detrimental not only to individual ability to function, but also to society in general, as it burdens the economic and healthcare systems. A highlight of the conversation was Dr. Spector's assertion that we are in a fiber crisis, with approximately 95% of people not getting enough fiber for good health. He emphasized its effects on longevity, cancer prevention, mental health, and overall well-being. Despite the prevailing emphasis on high-protein diets driven by marketing tactics, Dr. Spector argued for a balance favoring more fiber. He further suggested an increase in diverse fiber intake, not just by eating one type of vegetable, but incorporating 30 different plant types into weekly diets to truly harness the nutritional benefits needed for good health. Factors like these drive home the importance of a varied diet based on whole, natural foods. During the discussion, Bartlett and Dr. Spector pivot to practical applications that listeners could incorporate into their own diets. Dr. Spector introduces what he calls his diversity jar, filled with 10 different types of nuts and seeds, which added to his meals provide an almost instantaneous fulfillment of a third of the recommended 30 plants per week for dietary diversity. The emphasis is once again placed on the importance of a varied diet for gut health, including the impact on the diversity of gut microbes. Diversity in these microorganisms leads not just to easier food absorption, but also to better mental and immune health. A correlation is drawn between cultural diets and the health of gut microbiomes, with people in Japan and Korea found to live longer, delay the onset of chronic diseases by at least 10 years, and generally have better gut microbiomes when compared to people in the UK and the US, linking this to the large amounts of fermented foods included in their diets. Dr. Spector later demonstrates a DIY fermentation at home, offering an effortless way to produce probiotics and avoid food wastage. Repurposing what would normally be fridge scraps, he details the simple process. Chop up the vegetables, put them in a jar, add 2% of salt and mix. He calls this newly fermented mix a super nutritious, pre-digested food that is beneficial for overall health if eaten several times a day. Critically, these homemade fermented foods may contain 30 different microbes, as opposed to the 2 or 3 commonly found in probiotic capsules. Throughout this engaging segment, Dr. Spector challenges the listener's conventional understanding of dietary health, highlighting overlooked possibilities in their kitchens and the wonderful world of their own personal gut health. In this discussion with the host, Stephen Bartlett, Dr. Tim Spector takes a keen look at misleading buzzwords and faulty claims that are prevalent in food marketing. Dr. Spector emphasizes that words such as natural, low sugar, and low fat can give consumers a false sense of security about what they consume. Highlighting the significance of scrutinizing ingredients, he debunks the health claims on several products, from a supposed vitamin-rich dairy product to a snack bar labeled as natural. Dr. Spector dismantles these food claims by focusing on their high level of processing and the detrimental ingredients they often contain. He distinguishes between plain processed and ultra-processed food, stating that normal processing should only incorporate necessary ingredients like oil or salt. However, ultra-processed foods are created with industrially made additives like emulsifiers, artificial sweeteners, colorants, and flavorings, which are frequently harmful to our health. He points out how a natural fruit juice drink, for example, is loaded with additives beyond natural fruit, including sugars, preservatives, and artificial sweeteners such as aspartame, which has been linked to health problems like cancer and heart disease. Similarly, Philadelphia Light, boasting a 40% less fat label, includes stabilizers and emulsifiers. These additions can negatively impact gut microbes, causing an increased sensation of hunger and also adversely affecting heart health. An interesting point to note is Dr. Spector's explanation of how low-fat and highly processed foods can actually cause people to overeat. He explains that under lab conditions, people eating these types of foods definitely overeat substantially over the next day or so. This is attributed to the addition of sugars and starches in these zero-fat foods, which are included to make the food taste palatable. He also lays bare the questionable marketing tactics that many food companies use, including plastering health buzzwords on their products and creating health halos, where the perceived health benefits of a product overshadow its negatives. The real concern here is that people are unknowingly consuming around 60% of all their food as ultra-processed in the UK. Continuing his lesson in food literacy, Dr. Spector discusses the downside of popular snack bars that are often marketed as healthy. He highlights how they are filled not just with healthy nuts and seeds, but also with unhealthy adhesive agents such as glucose syrup, soy protein crispies, and tapioca starch, making these bars an ultra-processed food product. In conclusion, food marketing is awash with buzzwords and misleading nutrition claims. It's important to understand the distinction between processed and ultra-processed foods and scrutinize the ingredient lists of the products we consume. Eating healthy is more than just following the buzzwords. It entails understanding what goes into our food and making educated choices about our diet. During the conversation, Dr. Spector stresses the impact of snacking habits on health, uncovering that 95% of people are habitual snackers, and often their snack choices are detrimental to their health. Spector reveals that in both the UK and the US, around a quarter of our calorie intake comes from snacks, an alarmingly high figure that triggers numerous health issues. Dr. Spector points out that snacks are often ultra-processed and laden with sugars. This is a significant concern, as such food items can lead to increased hunger, poor digestion, and appetite disturbances. When people snack late at night, they're feeding their bodies a surge of sugar just before bedtime, which is particularly harmful. The body and gut microbes are not prepared to handle this influx, and it doesn't allow them a rest, resulting in feeling hungrier the next day. The timing of snacking could also disrupt our circadian rhythms, leading to suboptimal health and an increased appetite the following day. Stephen and Dr. Spector also debunk some of the health halos around snacking choices. They highlight that the typical healthy snacks, such as low-fat, low-sugar, protein-rich or gut-friendly snacks, might not be as wholesome as they are marketed. An apple or a handful of mixed nuts might be a better choice, as they are natural, whole foods that provide a range of nutrients without the negative effects of ultra-processed foods. Dr. Spector discusses our often misguided relationships with certain foods, using bread and white rice as prime examples. Most bread, particularly the varieties available in supermarkets, is ultra-processed and packed with sugar and other additives, which can cause us to feel hungrier and envision it as a healthy food. Similarly, even brown breads can cause erratic spikes in blood sugar levels. He asserts that most people are consuming too much bread, which lacks fiber and contains too many undesirable additives. With respect to white rice, Dr. Spector describes it as one of the most overrated foods, simply being perceived as healthier than other grains, primarily because of the healthy meals they are usually part of. However, the fact remains that rice is primarily just starch, essentially sugar with precious little fiber or additional nutrients. They also discuss ideal eating habits. Dr. Spector suggests refraining from solid food until closer to midday, having a black coffee early in the day for the benefits it brings, including contributing towards dietary fiber. However, it's important to be mindful of how various food and drink affect you individually. The discussion then dives into a broader conversation about hydration myths. Dr. Spector sheds light on the marketing maneuvers designed to overplay the importance of constant hydration, sharing that the human body actually possesses intrinsic mechanism to signal when it needs water. Therefore, the ubiquitous habit of drinking an excessive amount of water that we've been told is crucial for good health doesn't actually have considerable scientific backing. Interestingly, on the topic of fruit consumption, both Stephen and Dr. Spector share their personal experiences from using the Zoe app, which gives individual ratings of how well their bodies handle different fruits. They found that bananas, contrary to popular belief, don't score high due to their high sugar content. Instead, fruits like raspberries, cherries, strawberries, pears, and peaches feature more prominently on the list of fruits that are beneficial for their personal health. Dr. Spector dissects the highly controversial carnivore diet, expressing his skepticism. Even though some might feel better in the short term from a high-fat and high-protein diet, the long-term impacts on gut microbiome and overall health cannot be ignored. He warns of the lack of fiber in such diets, reiterating his point about an increase of 5 grams in fiber being linked with a 20-30% reduction in deaths from heart disease. Therefore, he doesn't see the carnivore diet as being sustainable or advisable. Artificial sweeteners present another debate. While better for oral health in terms of reducing tooth decay, Dr. Spector suggests that these sweeteners may harm gut microbes. Something as trivial as chewing gum with artificial sweetness might encourage a greater desire for sweet foods and potentially affect gut health negatively. Stephen Bartlett and Dr. Spector also delve into the question of mouth hygiene, specifically around the usage of mouthwash. While mouthwash may provide a sense of instant freshness, Dr. Spector points out that it can destroy the naturally beneficial microbes in the mouth that help fight off unwanted bacteria. Excessive use of mouthwash might actually lead to worse breath in the long run due to an overgrowth of the wrong bacteria. Finally, Dr. Spector emphasizes that there isn't a simple solution to weight loss, despite a lot of misinformation that might suggest otherwise. The keys to weight loss remain a balanced diet, regular exercise, adequate rest, and considering individual characteristics like gut health and personal metabolism. Moving forward, Bartlett and Dr. Spector addressed weight loss drugs, such as Asmix and Wigwas. Dr. Spector considers them revolutionary for those struggling with extreme obesity, potentially saving lives at high risk of heart disease or stroke. Nonetheless, for those with minor weight issues, the side effects such as affecting the pancreas and potentially causing rare cancers outweigh the benefits. Remarkably, Dr. Spector stated that the old view of calories in, calories out for weight loss is not supported by industry experts. Instead, he asserts that the focus must be on food quality, understanding individual gut microbes, and mindful eating practices. The oversimplified calorie counting model detracts from vital factors like food structure and inter-individual effects, rendering it practically impossible and meaningless for most people. With exercise entering the conversation, Bartlett and Dr. Spector agreed that although exercise brings innumerable health benefits, it's ineffective as a standalone weight loss strategy. The body's response to exercise often includes increased hunger, which leads to increased calorie consumption. The scientific evidence suggests no difference in overall weight loss when exercise is accompanied by a poor diet. In the subject of supplements, Dr. Spector holds firm that most are pointless. He acknowledged that some individuals, for example, dark-skinned individuals living in low sunlight areas, may benefit from supplements like vitamin D. However, he clarified that supplements are not for everyone and warned about potential heart-related side effects linked to high-dose calcium supplements. Omega-3 supplements too, he claimed, have failed to show effectiveness in reducing heart disease in studies. Finally, the duo had a heart-to-heart about alcohol. Dr. Spector noted that while alcohol is not necessary in one's diet, moderate consumption of red wine has been linked to a lower risk of heart disease in the context of the Mediterranean diet. However, alcohol cannot offer protection from other conditions such as cancer or certain strokes, indicating that alcohol consumption isn't generally beneficial for health. Diving deeper into their conversation, Bartlett posed a question to Dr. Spector about alcohol, particularly red wine. While alcohol doesn't hold any essential presence in our diet, red wine, when consumed moderately, has been associated with a decreased risk of heart disease. This finding is particularly significant in the context of the Mediterranean diet. However, as Dr. Spector highlighted, alcohol fails to protect against other conditions like cancer or some strokes, implying that alcohol consumption doesn't typically contribute to overall health benefits. Providing an interesting perspective on sleep, Dr. Spector revealed that poor sleep affects how our body responds to food. A lack of good sleep disrupts one's body metabolism, leading to fluctuations in sugar levels, which can in turn increase hunger and cravings for carbohydrates. This emphasizes the interrelation of sleep, gut microbiome, and nutrition. Taking a closer look at the topic of consistency, Dr. Spector advises maintaining a regular pattern of activity and rest, as this benefits one's body metabolism and gut microbes. However, he cautioned against an obsessive approach. One must balance these practices with other life-fulfilling activities, such as socializing, which can also contribute to one's overall well-being. When asked about pet food, Dr. Spector compared the pellets often given to pets as equivalent to ultra-processed food for humans, contributing to obesity and health concerns. He suggested pets could potentially do better on whole foods, similar to their human counterparts. Finally, Bartlett and Dr. Spector discussed the merit in analysing health data from large sets of people. Through platforms like Zoe, Dr. Spector mentioned the possibilities of uncovering patterns that could lead to disease prevention or making medications more effective, heralding exciting future prospects. Dr. Spector concluded this part of the discussion by expressing an overarching principle. Doing things good for your gut microbes could contribute positivity to your overall health, emphasizing the important role of gut microbes in our everyday dietary choices. Bartlett lauds Dr. Spector's brave contributions to nutritional science, acknowledging that his disruptive yet positive stances on conventional dietary wisdom have occasionally ruffled feathers. He likens Dr. Spector's thought-provoking ideas to drivers of innovation and positive change within a field that could occasionally be resistant to alterations in the status quo. Transitioning their conversation towards Zoe, a company sponsoring the podcast and one in which Bartlett is an investor, Bartlett commends the company's growth trajectory and its science-centered approach. Zoe holds a unique standout position in the market due to its unprecedented scale of health research enabled by its community members. Zoe becomes a focal point of discussion with its breakthroughs in gut health testing. Initially, the company was capable of analyzing only 30 types of bacteria in one's gut. However, through advancements in science, this has exponentially grown to offer a comprehensive analysis of 100 bacteria types. This constitutes an unparalleled development in the field, far exceeding any contemporarily available gut health tests on the market. Stressing the value of their offering, Bartlett encourages the audience to explore Zoe's services further and embark on their personal Zoe journey, underlining the importance he places on health as his top priority. He even shares an exclusive discount code for the audience, showcasing his promise to make health optimization more accessible for listeners. An undercurrent of excitement and intrigue permeates the discussion, hinting at the vast potential that this innovative approach could unlock in the realm of personalized nutrition and health. Check out the full podcast by clicking the link in the description below. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more content like this. Thank you for listening to this podcast summary episode of The Pod Slice.